Well, pitter patter, let's get at her. It's Joe the Bull Guy, and welcome to the bullpen. We've got Nicole as always, and Jimbo. How you guys doing? How was your weekend?
Good.
Good.
Decent. It was all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went
Was
skiing
it?
again, you know.
How did the Girl Scout thing go? Did you do the
Yeah,
cookies
we
yet?
oh we did a horse riding on Saturday. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, there you
That's right, 'cause I
go.
saw you guys Friday. I already told you about skiing. So yeah, we hung out with the horses on Saturday with the Girl Scouts.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Welcome in, G. How you doing,
Oh, and I
sir?
sold 50 boxes of Girl Scout cookies this
Dude,
weekend.
it doesn't surprise me. When does the sale end? Because I will
Oh,
tell my
wow. I'll give
mother.
you the link. If anyone
Yeah.
wants the link, it go directly to your house. I don't have to have any of your information. But you
Yeah,
can
No,
support
Nicole,
Kennedy.
definitely message it to me one way or the other, please.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
no,
We still have
G,
a little
no.
time though.
What we'll do is, if you send me the link, I'll put it in the link tree in the bio.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, and then this way it sits there. And then that way, if anybody wants Girl Scout cookies, just go hit up the link tomorrow. We'll have it. I'll have it in there. So we got a fun episode tonight, I think, and it could be quick, it could be long. That's the problem with this one because it's Nicholas fucking Tesla. Okay, like no, I'm not talking about the car Tesla or the Cybertruck. That stupid vehicle. I said it.
Oh, I
Day
hate
one.
that. It's so ugly.
Look, I watched a video of them trying to tow, like somebody got stuck in a ditch, and the guy's like, "Oh, I have a Tesla truck. Let's do this." And he hooks up the winch to the truck. It's like this little like Jeep Wrangler, right? Like not even a truck, like this little itty bitty fucking thing. And they go to pull it out, and the bumper rips the fuck off. Like the whole winch system is on the bumper and comes off as it's trying to wrench this Jeep up out of the hill. It was the funniest thing that I saw in my life. I was like, man, it feels like me trying to tow myself away from the buffet, like to try to pull it. Long story. But anyway, I don't know, G. It's okay. We enjoy that you come here to love on us. So we appreciate you. Michael, how you doing? Hey, Joe and Nicole, Spirit Wolf turning in. Let's fucking go, guys. So Nicholas Tesla, man. I mean, there's some crazy shit with Tesla. He was in with everybody. He had his hand in a lot of pockets. He was a brilliant man. Let's start that way. Like
Yeah.
you don't know who Nicholas Tesla is. You're going to learn a little bit about him tonight, but there's some conspiracies to all of this bullshit. I'm just saying, which is what we love here because who doesn't like a good rabbit hole, right? Except for my ex. I don't know, that vegan liberal. She didn't like anything in the rear end. But anyway, that's a whole nother story for another time. What? She didn't do anal, and I
I
don't
don't
eat.
like the rear end either.
I know Jimbo loves it. He loves sucking on copper pennies. Yeah, I remember. You don't remember? Do you not remember saying it on that episode? That was a
I
fun one.
wouldn't say sucking on a copper penny.
Ah,
Isn't that what you said? It tastes. Isn't that what someone
It was
said?
more
It
like tongue
was that
box,
Carl?
heart box, maybe.
Oh, Carl was the one who said it was the.
Carl.
Carl was the one who
call
said
it
the pennies.
I call it.
Oh, it was okay. Fair. I don't know. I'm not
Must
really.
have been Carl.
Me and Fred Durst, I'm not really down with the chocolate starfish. Like that was the one thing that I kind of really was not happy with that song. But anyway, I digress. So let's get the fuck into it. He was very smart as hell. He spoke 10 different languages and some shit. Hey, listen, G, I mean, you're gonna find some cool shit here. Well, you can't talk about Tesla without talking about a Tatarian civilization, which we will do an episode on next Monday. I'm just prefacing this. So when we don't get into it right now, just listen to what we got, do some research on it. But next Monday, we're going to have a fucking blast with it. So to start off with, Nicole, why don't you give us a brief overview of Nicholas Tesla?
Okay, so Nicholas Tesla was born in July 10th of 1856, and he died in January 7th in 1943. So he lived a really long life, which is great. He was famous for pioneering of the generation, transmission, and use of alternating current, which is the AC electricity. He also came up with the 369 method, which they actually still use in math classes today.
Well, what is that?
What? It
What is
reduces any number to a single digit by adding its digits. 369. So it's hard to explain. I would have to write it down, and I don't know if I could do all that.
Do you know what? Hold on, real quick before you go through that. Do you remember that song? It's like "Damn Good Fine" 369. Wasn't it a little
369?
Damn, she's fine.
Ass so fine. 369, ass so fine. Jake said it right. It is ass so fine.
369 so fine. Okay, listen.
But yes,
Come
they
on.
still use a 369 in math class, and I believe you start to learn that in elementary.
And didn't we do in our research with the Masons and the Templars? Wasn't Tesla part of all of the Illuminati and all that fun little secret societies? Wasn't that? Didn't we go through that?
Find any information with that in it.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
Is it just the Tatarians? Well, I'll look that up. Go ahead, keep going with that.
Okay, and then I do have a few inventions that he made, but
Let's hear 'em.
of course, Jim might have something to add to it. But we'll start with what I found. So the 5 inventions that Tesla came up with was the alternating current, which I had already said in the beginning. He also supposedly came up with the Tesla coil, the neon light, an induction motor, a Tesla turbine, a magnifying transmitter, and a radio-controlled device. So those were a few designs he supposedly made. And then he also started the very first hydroelectric power plant, which was in Niagara Falls. So he was the very first one in North America, not in the world, but in North America, he had the very first power plant, hydroelectric, yes. And then he was not known to be a savvy businessman. He suffered a lot of finance problems and a lot to do with the Morgan, which probably Jimbo will get more into. I'm just giving you a little basic guidelines. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have.
So, looking it up, it is speculated that he was part of the Freemasons, but it was never confirmed nor denied that he was or was not. That's just kind of like a topic that no one talks about, as well as diving a little bit into it with the 369. Tesla had an obsession with 3, so he had to do everything in 3s. Apparently, from what I was just pulling up, he literally, I watched a documentary about him recently. Right, exactly. He's been doing a lot of, like, they've been bringing up a lot of stuff with it, but and I think the elephant was Edison, FYI. Sorry, I was engaging with G's question was, did he kill the elephant or was it Edison? I think it was Edison. But the 3s, he did everything in 3s. They believe that he was obsessive compulsive. So 369, which is a method that they're using, those are all divisible by 3, right? And it perfectly divisible by 3. So I'm wondering if maybe he created that because of his obsessive nature. I think Jimbo froze. Yep, he's gone. So anyway, I bet you his phone died. Anyway, what Jim was going to start talking about. What's up, Tyler?
Hey, Tyler.
What we were going to start talking about was something called the Wardenclyffe Tower. Wardenclyffe Towers, excuse me, which is something that I wish Jimbo would come back here. I think we lost him. We lost him. Okay, well, he'll come back here in a minute. But anyway, so the Wardenclyffe Towers was this project that was actually funded by JP Morgan. Okay, which is interesting because JP Morgan had his hand in everything, and JP Morgan did some shady shit.
And JP Morgan is still around to this day, too.
Oh, 100%.
Well,
the company, yeah, but this was JP, like the guy who started this was with.
Well, no, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it's crazy that Morgan is still around. That's
yeah, no, I mean, well, it's a company that's going to be around forever because they've had their hands in absolutely everything, and every almost conspiracy, there's always Morgan behind it, Rockefeller behind it. If Edison and Tesla started a brand, it would be called AC/DC. Facts, G.
Oh, he also came up with a particle pew pew.
You could say gun.
That,
you can say
that
gun
could
on
destroy
here.
anything in its path. Oh, okay, so a gun.
Yeah, you can say gun.
Yeah, I forgot to include that.
We're used to TikTok, so you gotta,
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm using TikTok little slang. So yeah, so he did invent, but it never was finished. He had a lot of great inventions, but not all of them were completed. And he had a laboratory that also got burned down in New York.
Well, that's the Wardenclyffe Towers. That's
Oh,
that's
okay.
what we're talking about. So what
Okay,
happened
perfect.
is
See, there
this
we
was a
go. We can do
this
it
was
on
a
Jam.
research
Oh, sorry.
facility. You're fine. This was a research facility that that basically actually gave off Wi-Fi transmissions. So this was free electricity. So he built this tower that would actually he powered his entire neighborhood with it, and he was able to provide free electricity, which was the predecessor for this like wireless charger that I have, and things that of just any device that you could think of. Cell phones. He even had a cell phone. Like he created something that went from let me get the exact name of it here before I put my
I
foot
think
in
it's
my
called
mouth.
an MF FM transmitter.
Yeah, he did a high frequency experiment from New York to Colorado in
Yeah,
18
magnifying
1824.
transmitter, radio controlled device.
Right, which was basically wireless communication. So
Right.
he basically had a cell phone before cell phones were a thing, and it was long
Hello, how
distance.
cool is that, guys? We're repeating
Well,
history. Kind of.
Well, we're repeating history or were we hiding history? Because a lot of his stuff in that Wardenclyffe Tower project burnt to the ground. All of his notes, all of his projects. So we're talking about Nicholas Tesla. Um, gotta love Seamless, the TikTok vernacular, right? To other live streams, Mike. It TikTok will fuck you sometimes. But the Tatarian civilization, which I was talking about earlier, which we're gonna get into later, um, they had airplanes that were gasless. They had cars that were gasless. They had perpetuating motors that were gasless well before. But now look at JP Morgan. Go back to Rockefeller. Right now, JP Morgan pulled the plug on the Wardenclyffe Towers because I can't fucking speak today. Apparently, Hooked on Phonics didn't work for me. But what happened is that all these experiments that he was doing in this secret laboratory that he had, JP found out that he was working on free electricity. Well, who backed the electric companies? JP Morgan. So all of these things were like a complete fucking useless it was just completely useless once he burnt it down to the ground. But that's the craziest part about this whole thing is that our government's hiding shit from us and has been for years, right? So that's Tesla is a prime example. And look, here's Jimbo. You're
Hey
back.
guys, sorry about that. My Wi-Fi did a little loop-de-loop. Had a little Tesla issue with my Wi-Fi.
Hey, there you go. Well, I kind of gave some background of the Wardenclyffe Towers, right? And we were talking about how it created wireless Wi-Fi transmission, basically, and wireless power, and how it could charge his whole neighborhood. Then it burned down to the ground, and most of his notes and shit got Jim's got to pay the bill. No, Carl's got to pay the bill. He's the producer of this show. Blame him.
Carl, pay the bill.
I think he's out on a date with his robot tonight, which probably charges wirelessly.
Sure, wasn't the inflatable this time?
No, I think it was that $5,000 fucking that thing that he has. But I think it wirelessly charges, so he could thank Nicholas Tesla for that. But that whole project, when JP pulled the plug on it, it was what they called 0 point energy, which was basically taking everything that's in the atmosphere, sucking it in, and pushing it out as electricity, which would change the world. I mean, if you had free energy, no one would fight. You wouldn't have to fight. Robot.
No, that's where the device is in his left hand. He's got an actual woman robot.
The doll. He got the sex
Carl,
doll.
I'll help you now. What do you need?
Yeah, right. Like, and it sits there and then like backs it up. Oh, Carl. Oh, Carl. I feel just awful even saying that. It's fucking.
We love you, Carl. I'm sorry,
but I mean, look, if you're gonna spend like 20 G's on a fucking a sex doll, I mean, at least it's not gonna pop, right?
Hey.
Can
you imagine how many times those popped on people? The inflatable ones they used to have with the woman's mouth. That was like.
Here's a better one for you. Do you ever notice that there was always a fucking sheep? Who the fuck walks into a sex store and goes, "I'll take the sheep"?
Wait, what? A sheep?
Nah.
You never seen that?
I've been in the sex stores and I've never seen a
Well, I live in Pennsylvania.
Ah,
I live in Pennsylvania, very close to West Virginia. They
You know
have
why,
sheep in there.
You know where
wait,
Scott?
don't you have a
know where
lot of?
Scott-
Never mind. Don't want them to attack me.
Uh-oh. I think we lost Jimbo again.
Oh, come on,
Did
stop
we-
playing.
Are you there, Jimbo?
Did we see again?
There,
Knock,
we
knock,
got
you
you.
there? Hello?
We got you. We got you. You're
I
here.
said, you know why Scotsmen wear kilts, right? Because the
No.
sheep can hear a zipper a mile away.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, that's facts. I thought that's why they also wore boots so that they could loop the back heels in so they couldn't get away.
Yeah, you put their back legs inside your boots, and you put them to the end of a cliff so they push back on you. They can't get away.
Brings a whole.
So I've been told.
It brings a whole new meaning to back that ass up. But anyway, back
Oh my God.
as we're talking about backing things up, let's go back to Tesla.
Where
So
did I just end up? Oh, hello.
You're like, turn your Wi-Fi back off.
listen, you
We're
ended up.
talking about Nicholas Tesla, but we kind of got off subject for a second. We'll reel
Well,
it back in.
We were kind of on the same topic. We were talking about wireless charging devices and how
true,
Tesla
true,
was the
true.
forefather
Robots are-
of that. And Carl, our producer, bought a sex robot that wirelessly charges. So that's where you ended up. And then the sheep was just about blow up dolls because Nicole brought up the blow up doll. Now you're up to speed, just letting you know. But anyway, Jimbo, why don't you fill us in? Because 0 Point Energy had to do with, if I'm not mistaken, Faraday and a couple other people that you had done some research on about Tesla and who he was involved in. So let's
So I'll give credit to a great website I found. It's called Interesting Engineering. And what they had posted was called The 7 Myths of Nicholas Tesla. And with Faraday and also Nicholas Callan, they say that he didn't actually invent it. He created it based on principles of induction that applied to in which they named the Tesla coil and induction motor. It was not his altogether. He had started that with Faraday and Callan, which they also they did that in 1836, which created the X-ray machine and the spark gap transmission from the 1880s to the up into the 1970s. They used that, which was Faraday and Callan's. But what it seems like, because there's 7 of them, that they're like, he did not invent this. He did not invent this. But he was part of those teams. And then it looks like he splits and then improves on it and creates a better product kind of thing. That's what kind of the thing that I got out of most of these myths.
and you know the
Einstein, Faraday, Callan,
or was he just or was he just smart? He worked with the greatest minds of the generation, took the ideas, improved upon that next step, and patented it.
exactly.
But again, you got to think back to JP Morgan, right? Why is JP Morgan the fuck in this? Why did his research burn? Why did all of this go down? And it still stays with the conspiracy.
And it seems like the research that I found was the reason JP Morgan pulled the plug. He said it was going too slow. The production of the tower, the project was going too slow, but that was like in a year from 1901 to 1902.
Right.
Like within a year, he's like, yeah, no, it's too much.
But see, then I
He said he
then I
wasn't good
found
with his money though. He
but
had a
here's-
lot of good stuff happen. He had a lot of good products or patents, but like it was like he just wasn't very savvy business. He wasn't a good businessman. He was a very smart man, but not
right, which would why you'd elicit the help of like JP Morgan and stuff like that.
Right.
But the research that I found about JP pulling the plug wasn't because it was rumored that it was moving too slow, but in reality was the free power.
Right.
He created free energy. Free energy is scary because now you throw off the balance of power. If everybody has that, no one. What do we think about it this way? Why do most of our wars start in the Middle East? Oil.
Fuel,
power, energy. That's we use coal, we use oil, we use this to turn into electricity. So if we have free electricity, it's going to take no money to produce that milk other than the feed for the cow, which you're growing. It's the sheep. Fuck off, G. We're not talking about Dolly, but the point is, though, really, it's got to look. I know there's some shady shit going on there. There had to have been.
He was friends with Mark Twain. Did you know that?
He was, and it was rumored that him and Einstein one day after leaving a show, which I think Jimbo, you were talking about how he was always frequently out at shows with Einstein, right?
Yeah.
So
something real quick. I just looked up J.P. Morgan's biggest accomplishments. How about one of them was forming GE, General Electric.
right, which would put him out with Con Ed and General Electric and knock him out because Edison had
Biggest
Con
thing
Ed.
was the steel industry with the railroads, but the next one was General Electric.
Right. So, I mean, you fuck with somebody's wallet, they're going to fuck with your building and burn it to the
Oh,
ground.
you know his first employment was Thomas Edison?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. He, well, I knew that because we did the research on it, but
Right.
yeah, Thomas Edison, he worked with Thomas Edison, which was the GE's.
Yeah. They said they were very
Competition.
different backgrounds, but you know, he did work for him for a while.
Well, and that's why G made the joke about AC and DC because Edison made direct current where Tesla's accredited for alternate current. So, you know, like, but that's, I mean, it would be a funny band, although that could also be a band for something else, but we're not going to go into that on YouTube. We don't
Actually,
want to
there's
piss
a
off.
fantastic band called AC/DC.
Right. And they have big balls, apparently.
Big balls.
But, no, but at the end of the day, though, I mean, the guy was a brilliant fucking man. He did have, there's no way that he didn't, like,
Here, can
create
we
or
show a
have.
picture of like the current thing that's like what he did? That's Nicholas. And it's a picture of Nicholas in his laboratory in Colorado Springs in December of 1899. And he's showing
That was the New
magnifying-
York to Colorado
Right.
where he was using cell phones.
Yeah.
He made a cell phone, basically.
I was just showing a
So-
picture.
No, you're good. Yeah. So when he was with Einstein, it was rumored that him and Einstein left a show, and they both were asked by a reporter, you know, what is your next greatest project, and started bugging them about things that they had worked on. And Einstein and Tesla looked at each other. Apparently, both pulled their pants down, mooned them. Einstein turned around, stuck his tongue out, and they both ran.
Wow.
I found that on one of the websites. I don't know how true it is. I tried to find another one to validate it. But I kind of feel like two brilliant people would find that humorous at their age. We're going on a field trip.
Tesla also got the recipient of the Medal of Honor, the Nobel Prize in 1915 or 1917. I'm sorry, the Edison Medal in 1917, which is the highest honor that the American Institute of Electrical Engineers could bestow.
So, and he again, it just points out how brilliant he was, right? He had, if I'm not mistaken, I thought that he had something to do. Well, if you watch movies, like, and you believe anything that Disney puts in the fucking movies, which I hope you don't, but Tomorrowland was a good movie, but a lot of the stuff that was in Tomorrowland was actually a Tatarian civilization. So the reason I wanted to touch on this is because there's a lot that he'll play into during that podcast.
Oh, he also had a progressive germ phobia.
Yeah, that goes to the OCD, the everything in times 3, right? So, I mean, you found something interesting out though about him and Elon, didn't you?
Okay, so yeah, so Tesla and Elon Musk are related, but like way distant. And then, you know, of course, Elon Musk owns Tesla, but the Tesla, you know, car company, business people, it was named after Nicholas Tesla.
And G, to answer your question, I believe he has over like 300 patents and like 112 are in the United States, if I'm not mistaken. But it's crazy. Like, he invented so much shit. He was born in Croatia, like, so he wasn't even part of the US. And just some of the shit that we have today. And then Faraday, like, some of our stuff today is based off of the stuff that they created back then to really lead you to believe, I don't believe Elon was born on Earth. Well, he doesn't look like he was born on Earth. Hello, Steven. How you doing? But a lot of like our technology is based off the Tesla coil. Now, one of the other things that we were talking about, like the Wardenclyffe, I had brought up the last time was Dr. Perkinstein. Okay. This guy, Dr. Perkinstein, he's a kid and he was on TikTok and he had this really popular account. It ended up hitting like 9.5 million followers, right? Within like 2 days. Because he showed how to build that tower. He figured it out without Tesla's plans, how to build this tower. So when he ended up building this tower in his backyard, he gave electricity to his entire neighborhood. He went live when he kicked it on, and within seconds his stream was shut off and he was tackled to the ground. It was destroyed. His account got deleted. He was taken off of YouTube. He was taken off of everywhere. And all of a sudden now he's back. It's been like 2 years since he's done this. And he does not talk about it at all. And when you ask him about it, he doesn't even remember it. Because he did a live and he was sitting there and people are like, so where's your tower? Where's your tower? And he goes, I don't understand what tower. I didn't build a tower. He's like a completely different person. I wish that I had downloaded one of those clips like 2 years ago before they all went missing. But he is like, his hair looked like Einstein. This kid was like 19 years old, created all this shit out of like chicken wire, copper wire that he found. And he built it in his backyard and gave the entire area that he lived in. And I forget where he lived. But it was like a city. It was like a dense city like area. It was an urban set. It wasn't suburbs. Like it was down in the city. Reminds you of Back to the Future. Yeah, Doc Watson. I mean, but think about it though, or Doc Brown. Jesus, Doc Watson. I'm losing my fucking mind today. But well, think about it though. That the guide wire that they were using the electricity to power the energy, literally what Tesla was doing. So it's scary to see that our government has really, and all governments kind of hid a lot of this information, because how many people knew about the Wardenclyffe towers before today? Probably not many. Did you, Jim? I don't know.
Yeah, only from what was it called? The Illusionist. There's a movie that I think was called The Illusionist. They talked about like cloning, moving objects from one place to another, and it was all part. It was a fictional movie, but that's where I had first heard of it.
So Tesla, if you ever heard of a movie called Tomorrowland, which has George Clooney in it, and it's a Disney movie, but it talks about the Tatarian society, but it doesn't do it in the way that is actually like historical. They make it like really fictional. The problem with it is all of the research that I've done on both of these topics, they're spot on. So apparently there was this like secret society that Tesla and a bunch of these scientists were involved in, and like very powerful people. Einstein was one of them, and they all figured out a way how to get to this other plane, right? So remember we talked about the other dimensions. They had a device that would jump them to this, which is where all the Tartarians that were here said, fuck this place. We're going to make it a better place since no one wants to listen. What were you going to say, Jim?
Ready? It wasn't The Illusionist. It was The Prestige with Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that movie.
That's a great movie. And that's like what it's like, that's all part of that movie.
We talked about the Freemasons last Monday.
No, Tyler's asking, was that Society of the Freemasons? It wasn't. It was like Prime something, U plus or whatever in the Disney movie. But in reality, it's the Tatarian civilization. And if you do me a favor, y'all that are in here, there's like 10 of y'all in here. If I'm not a huge fan of Disney, but if you can get a hold of Tomorrowland, go watch it. It's a good kid-friendly movie, so you can see with the little ones. But it'll be interesting when you watch it, because you'll see some of the stuff we talk about Tesla and how the Eiffel Tower is actually a huge antenna that was designed by Tesla and the artist and the architect to make it as a receiving tower. If you look at a lot of these like buildings, there's obelisks and like so like old churches, you know how they're like domed and they're all copper and they're all metal and they have the three balls on the top of it, or like churches will have like the three crosses on it. These were all charging stations that would pull energy out of the environment and hone it in through there, and then it would be docking stations like wireless charging. So
that was the basis of that movie, was that they were, Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman were competing magicians, right? And the one couldn't figure out how the other one was making things disappear. Well, here he was using that tower and the energy to make like rabbits disappear. When he researches all this stuff, he finds a field out in the middle of the woods somewhere with like thousands of rabbits, because he's sending them out. And there's this huge
fly. Isn't the fly they go in that little thing and then they go somewhere else? Kind of the same thing.
No. The what?
It's an older movie. I think it was called The Fly, and they had those machine, and you could put a human in, and they were going other places, being transported. Similar
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't
look at me like
listen. The fly. I remember Lord of the Flies, where the little kid was out there, and
I'm gonna look it up right now.
You know, the fly was that the scientists made this thing that he could get into, and it would transport him from one machine to another. And the whole thing was that it like breaks your DNA down and it sends it over like Star Trek when they're like beam me up. Right. What had happened was there was a fly in his little machine. So when they
you have seen the movie, I knew you did.
And moved over.
Yeah, but it was
fine.
Wasn't it similar though? Like the same kind of machine? No.
Maybe.
Okay. Stop.
Right. Anyway, well, and no, you're not wrong. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're fine, Nicole. No, I do not support Disney, but at all. But Tomorrowland was a good movie, and it did open you up to a little bit in a weird way, because Disney has this habit of throwing breadcrumbs into shit. The Illusionist base. No, there was a sheep in that movie. There was no sheep in that movie. No one was talking about Dolly. That was the sheep was in Ant-Man when they were shrinking them and bringing them back. Which, funny enough, a lot of the shit that's in Marvel universe, like even like the arc reactor, if you look at some of the Tesla's designs, so it's just funny how you see Tesla throughout history, even to today, on some of these designs that they're releasing, going, oh, look at the new technology, wireless charging. Bullshit. We had it in the 1800s. They had electric cars back then. Okay. You remember the Hudson?
Yeah. I love that movie.
No, the car. No, not the car, the Hudson.
Yeah. And they made a movie about it. It was fun.
Okay. I didn't know that they made a movie about it. I thought you were talking about like Hudson Hawk with like, what's his name? I was like, no, we're not talking about Hudson Hawk. No, but the car Hudson was a fully electric car, and it had some fucking feet, like power windows, power seats, heated seats. It had every fucking like luxury we have today in a car that was cheaper than any other car on the market.
And GM and Ford wanted to crush them, and they did.
And they did. They beat the hell out of them into submission because there was bigger money in oil and in coal and steel than there was in the electric. So it's just kind of interesting how. And if you go back even further and you trace where JP Morgan got his money and Rockefeller got his money, was, guess yet again, the Rothschilds. So, I mean, full circle back to Freemason, Templar, and the Illuminati. I mean, it's just, you can't help but think that Tesla had something to do with all of that. I don't know, at least me. Maybe my mind is ADHD and maybe slightly, I don't know, Asperger's. I don't know. But my mind works differently, I guess. So, with that being said, anybody have anything else that you want to say about Nicholas?
They said he was also a futurist.
He really wanted to see a lot of stuff, like WALL-E. That's kind of like what he envisioned, like our culture to be. But you know what? That's a scary part, because with that, at the end of the day, the government doesn't have control over you at that point. Well, actually, at that point, they would have absolute control over you. So, with that being said, I think that we are talking about JFK on Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And we're going to get into some of the
list,
kinkiest
JFK,
shit.
MLK, and Senator.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about some of the kinky shit that that JFK was into because it's Freaky Friday.
As far as I know, he never got married. There's no known wife that Tesla ever married. I think he might have been, another Swain. Because he only had a close few friends, and they were like men.
Well, they do say. I don't know if there's any validity to that. I'm not going.
I said, did Tesla ever marry? It said there's no known wife. I just saw it when I was.
No. I believe you,
maybe.
But as far as what side of the fence he lies on, I'm not going to judge there.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No. That's your opinion. You're fine with that. I don't have an issue with that. I just think that a lot of brilliant people are very.
It didn't really go into detail, Tyler, how they were related. I think it. Let me see.
Here, we're gonna do this. So I muted her. A lot of smart people. I'm just kidding. A lot of smart people. You're here. You're there. You can talk. You're good. A lot of smart people are recluses, and they don't deal well with other people. So it's to find out that he wasn't married. I don't know if I would say that that's really odd. You know what I mean? I don't think Einstein married either, did he? I don't think Einstein was married either, and Faraday I don't think was married either. That's how rumors start. Exactly. Did you hear that on Joe's podcast that Nikola Tesla was gay and Einstein was? Yeah, actually, Carl might know. We can ask Carl. He'll probably know. There's probably a secret handshake Carl knows.
It's my personal opinion. Nicole C loves recovery.
Nicole, no, Nicole, you're fine. No,
come for me. I'll tell you.
No one.
I'll set the story straight. Let's go.
Gee, facts.
I'm not playing.
Facts.
Come for me.
Yeah, they didn't marry. They were and they were really smart. So they were really smart. Exactly. They didn't have to pay for a divorce or child support. No, but in reality, though, a lot of brilliant people did not. Jimbo Jobs.
Hey, what's up, Jimbo Jobs? What's happening?
Bro, what's up? I just clicked on live. What up, Jimbo? How you doing? So I don't know. I just think that when you're that smart, it's hard to hold a conversation with somebody. And if you're not holding the conversation, their mind is moving at such a higher rate than ours, right? Like you and I could sit here and talk about, I don't know, which papers are better to roll wacky tobacco in, right? Whereas they're sitting there trying to figure out how the fucking universe came about. And, if, the lighter falls off the desk, they realize we can change this on some experiment, like the Manhattan Project. What was it? Like he knocked over a cup and realized how to make the atomic bomb. Like it was just crazy. Why do I feel like we all just made a list? Yep, we definitely just made several lists tonight, bud. Animals, cancel culture. No, I'm kidding. Game Green. Isn't he Elon? I don't know. I don't know if he is or isn't. That's a good question. And I don't think that's ever been said or not. But he's definitely very brilliant. And a lot of people that are brilliant are always attributed with something like OCD, like ADHD. So is it really a disability or is it superpowers? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's an advantage. Sometimes I feel like it's a major disadvantage that I have. And another rumor starts. Did you end up finding out what you were looking up?
They weren't related, I guess. It just says not related by blood. But they inspired the name by that. So Musk just became the company's CEO. I read that wrong. So they're not related.
Oh, it said not by blood.
Yeah, by not blood.
Well, that could have been adopted. And where is G's and another rumor? No, I'm kidding. I don't know if they were adopted or not. But yeah. So JFK, we're gonna do some of the seedy side of JFK. Nicole, as always, I'm gonna try to see if you could dig up who he had romps with during his presidency and whatnot.
Gotcha.
Should be fun. Jimbo, why don't you look into some of his foreign policies that he was involved in right before he was assassinated? and we're going to talk about the assassination and the Warren Commission and the declassification of the whole report and find out what happened. Now, Trump did pass that, and it hasn't been enacted yet. So it'd be interesting. We can do a follow-up once we get all the information and see how fucking mind-blown we are. But a good movie to watch is JFK with Kevin. Isn't Kevin Costner? Kevin Costner's in it. Great movie. It's about 4 hours, so just dedicate 4 hours of your life to that. But it'll suck you in. You'll really start to think, who the fuck killed him?
It's funny, real quick, to say like people comment on the time of some of these movies, like JFK, like Gettysburg. And if you're really into history and you're really into the details of it, I tell people all the time, I go, it could be a miniseries. These movies could have been 12 hours long.
Right.
The way they do them, and they do them so well. But people are going to lose interest if they did that.
Right.
But that movie is worth the watch. Get a big bag of popcorn.
Sit out, and then you'll start going and diving through every fucking History Channel JFK documentary like I did afterwards. Because the first time I saw that, I was like, holy shit. Then I read the book, All the President's Men. And then I ended up going back and watching the JFK movie again and went, Right. And then it just kept going down, and down. So with that being said, I think we're going to wrap this up. As always, guys, remember, you guys are fucking amazing. Tomorrow is such a better day with you in it. Carl, I don't know if I keep seeing him pop in and out, but I think that's just the uplink to his sex robot.
The robot's taking over fucking Carl.
I seriously, one of these days he's going to get